I am Dr. Randall Bell. Welcome to Core IQ, where we learn about the stuff we all need to know, but we don't always learn in school: time management, goal setting, that kind of thing. I'm here with J.C. Cavitt, who's an expert in social issues, sociology, that kind of thing. That's where your degree in grad school work is and so forth. And we're going to talk about parenting and parenting pause. Now, I'm a parent, you're a parent, we know that. So, introduce yourself and why this topic is so important.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Dr. Bell. So I'm J.C. Cavitt. I'm pursuing my master's degree in social work. I love anything around social engagement, equality, equity, dealing with peoples. Primarily, my focus and emphasis now is on kids and families. And so I've been working with young kids, at-risk youth, diversion programs for about 15 years now. And a lot of that has been with both the kid and the parents or the caregiver. In my experience, I've seen how the conflict from parents trying to engage with their kids, the struggle that they have in doing that. And so I've come up with some strategies to hopefully help parents better engage with their child.
Yeah, you sure have, and they're brilliant. And by the way, there's a handout. You can print it out. It's a PDF on the website to follow along in case you have trouble seeing the screen, but just want to make you aware of this. You developed this. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
And I'm here to learn from the experts. So let's start from the top. What exactly is How Parents Pause? What does PAUSE stand for?
So PAUSE is a simple acronym for Parents Awareness Utilizing Strategic Engagement. So it's really a tool to help parents be more effective and efficient when it comes to communicating with their children. The way we communicate with our kids today, it's very different than what it was, let's say, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. With the advent of technology and social media, pressures that our kids today face, for me growing up, they weren't there. And I'm sure for you, they weren't there either.
Yeah.
And so we as parents, I think sometimes are engaging our kids based off of the way that we were raised and taught. And we fail to factor in how kids are really impacted by social media and all of this technology that they are born into. For us, we can remember a world without technology. You remember the old rotary phone that you had took forever?
Oh, yeah.
Well, a kid nowadays, they don't even know what a doubt, like that's not their reality. With PAUSE, it's a way for parents to kind of catch up a little bit or close that divide, that gap between them and their kids.
I love that because it's really, technology is changing, the world's changing. It's kind of a way for parents to take it up a notch. That's what I hear you saying. So let's start with educate, and why don't you walk us through this?
For parents, I think one of the very first things that they can do is educate themselves on whatever the issue is that they assume is going on with their kid. For example, I have one kid that I work with who has been experiencing extreme bullying. I don't even refer to it as bullying. It's more like he's being terrorized at school on a daily basis. And for this kid, he has took that negative attention and started to inflict self-harm. So he's cutting. For his mother, who I know loves both of her boys that I work with, I think that she has an idea that something's going on, but she's not really engaging her son in conversation. And one of the tall tale signs is that for his situation, where we're at in Orange County, the weather is always nice for the most part, and this kid is wearing long sleeve hoodie on top of a jacket, which for me, I have curiosity around that. Why is it 90 degrees outside and you have all of these layers on? Well, this kid that's his strategy for hiding the cut marks on his arms.
Right.
And so for a parent, the first thing I would say is to educate yourself. If you think that there's something going on with your kid, be it cutting, be it drugs, alcohol, hanging out with the wrong people, I would do some research. If I'm thinking that my kid is having a substance abuse issue, I would go and see what are the statistics? I'll try to take as many assessments as I possibly can as a parent, just to educate myself, to empower me so that when I did get to the point where I'm getting ready to engage, I'm engaging with the right information. Because a lot of times parents will engage with the kid from information that they were taught 30 and 40 and 50 years ago. Well, statistics change. We have more data to where when you're empowered as a parent with the right information, you can really be direct in what it is that you're trying to communicate with your child.
Yeah, I love it. So it's the first thing is as parents, take it up a notch and don't think that what we learned 30, 40 years ago applies today. This affects everybody across the board.
Absolutely.
So I love it. So educate. Then we go to plan.
So the next thing is to plan. And plan is an important piece to this puzzle because it's not, you as a parent may have something to say and you have the right to say it wherever you are. That's your right as a parent. However, when you're dealing with kids, especially teenagers that are trying to figure out life on their own, you have to be strategic. So you have to think about, when's the best time to have this conversation with my child? Where do I want to have it? Is having it at home versus having it maybe at a mall where the child feels more comfortable in that space? But just because you want to get something off your chest as a parent, you're trying to make your point, you have to keep in mind where you are.
Right.
So start thinking about it. I encourage my kids and the parents to take your child out for a lunch. You know, maybe a Saturday, or you guys go out for a dinner date, just you and the parent, and have it there on neutral ground. But definitely plan on how and where and when you want to engage in this conversation.
Yeah, I love this because you haven't even talked to the kids yet. What you've done is you've really done the education. You're thinking about it. You're planning it. It's a whole strategy.
Yes.
Okay. So you do all that work, and it can take a while.
It can.
And then you get to actually engage the child. So talk about that.
So engagement, if you've done steps 1 and 2 really well, the engagements, I feel you'll be empowered, you'll be composed, and you'll be able to communicate in a way that's most effective. And so the engagement is simply, I'm going to have this conversation. The key with engagement, though, is as a parent, you have to allow your child to speak. Even if you as a parent don't agree with what they have to say, you at least have to be willing to hear it. Take it in. Try to put yourself in their shoes and see the world from their perspective.
Right.
I think that helps us meet them where they are in that engagement strategy.
And sometimes the kids try and shock you, and they say something shocking. And if you go off, it shuts down the whole engagement. But if you calm down and just listen, where are you coming from? Say the most bizarre thing you want to say. I'm going to sit here, calmly. That seems to be a great part of this engagement process.
Absolutely. It is so crucial that parents try to keep their composure when they're dealing with their teenagers, or just dealing with their kids in general. I think one of the best pieces of advice is that I could give a parent, especially in the engaged statement, in the engaged step, is use I statements. A lot of times when parents engage with their kids, it's always you did this, you did that, you. Whereas if a parent took a step back and did the I approach, I feel this way when you do this, it changes the dynamic of the conversation. But if you ever think about someone always saying you, it makes people defensive, even more so for young people. And so when you flip that a little bit and start with I feel,
right,
total game changer.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. A huge point. Okay, anything else you want to say about engage?
No, I think that's it for engage, I would say.
All right, so then we're not done yet. We've done our homework. We've planned it out. We've engaged the child calmly. We're using I statements. And so, but we're not quite done. There's this last step of adjust.
I think this is probably one of the most difficult for parents. A lot of times, parents want their kids to change without them changing. And sometimes a parent has to own up to part of the child's behavior is a reflection of your parenting style. And so with the adjust stage, I think that this is the buy-in from both. That is, if you're as a parent are wanting your child to make some behavioral adjustments, then you too as a parent should be open and willing to make some adjustments of your own. But this is the opportunity that you have the conversation, you go back, you reflect. And if you really was listening to your child, you should have picked up on some things that they may have been voicing, some concerns, some fears, some worries that you as a parent can shore that up so that they could feel more whole and complete. So the adjust is about reflecting, but it's also about you as a parent start thinking about how do I adjust and adapt my parenting style as well.
So the way I hear that is flexibility. You don't go about this in a rigid process. This is you have to be listening, learning, re-educating yourself so that you keep getting better and better and better with these relationships with our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if we don't, it's so damaging, and it also creates a greater divide between you and your child.
Okay, cool. So adjustment. Anything else on that?
Yeah, one thing I would still love to mention that this is not just a one and done type of formula. So this is a process that you would repeat over and over and over with your child until that trust is built. And then, see, that's the beautiful thing is once the trust is built, the line of communications is open, then you could actually start being strategic about next steps. What things can you change right now and moving forward to help the relationship both this way, but also making sure that your child can engage with other people around him healthy.
Yeah. I mean, this is brilliant stuff. This is what Core IQ is all about. And Core IQ applies to parents too. And upping our game. And this is a brilliant step-by-step process to really take on an important topic and nail it. Anything else you want to share with everybody?
The last thing I would say is parents, don't be afraid to engage your child. Like you as a parent, as an adult, having lived experience, you know some things that are coming your child's way. And just because you know the things, that's the one thing is that you know some stuff that they're going to value from, but you have to be strategic in how you give that information to them. But the main thing is if you assume that something's going on with your kid, start educating yourself, start being strategic about how you're going to have that conversation. Absolutely engage your child because their life may depend on it. And then lastly, be willing to make some changes yourself as a parent.
I love it. That's brilliant. Thanks, JC, for coming.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Bell.
Okay. And thanks for watching Core IQ. Make sure you talk about it, share it, talk about it with your friends, like it, all that kind of good social media stuff, and we'll keep the conversation going. See you soon.